Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to this podcast. Hope you saw our last video. My name is Renee from Blazing Tech, and we have our special guest.
Joe from Tech We Love.
And we got some special bulletins today. This is what's been going on in the world. We have some very interesting topics about the Apple tracking looted phones that are being tracked because they broke in due to the protests of George Floyd. We also have the new iPad Pro, not the iPad Pro, should I be saying the new iPad Air? So, iPad Pro, oh, hope to see you into the future one of these days. And we got a new Apple supplier. We'll let you know more information about that as we keep going. We also got the new ransomware that's affecting Windows and Linux machines. It's crazy. You don't hear Linux machines getting affected that often, do you, Joe?
No, stable.
And we also got some news on the Android phone processors. So let's get started on the Apple tracking phones. So you've been hearing about that, Joe, about all that protesting with the phones getting looted, Apple getting all the devices getting stolen, and
Yeah, I was gonna just we didn't talk about it last week because it wasn't really big news at that time. I don't know why we were dealing with other things, but with George Floyd's death, a lot of people were upset. I'm upset too. I don't think anybody should be treated like that way by police. Um, but I don't think it excuses people from being stores.
I totally agree on
A lot,
that.
a lot of people were scared because their grocery stores were closed down because people are boarding up everything. Um, you know, people need to buy phones. You're destroying a store. That store might not come back ever. I don't know. There's a lot of things that happen, and so kudos to Apple to protect their own merchandise. It's their own software, so and their own hardware. So
Yep. Yeah, now Apple's really been talking about disabling and tracking some of the looted phones. So what do you think about that? Like as
well,
of
it's kind of interesting actually because in the article people were saying, well, there's this message that comes up. It actually tells you, some of them tell you exactly which store to bring it back to, which is pretty,
really?
yeah, that's pretty interesting. Right? And the thing is, though, where the legality, though, if you're bringing the phone back to the store, are 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 charges dropped against you, or are they still trying to prosecute people for bringing a phone back? Like, are you going to get some kind of a criminal slap on the wrist, or are they going to try? I don't know. Like, are they going to give you a lesser crime, like a misdemeanor or something? I'm not sure.
It's like, just say this too. Like, what happens if I bought the phone from some stranger on the side of the street and he's like, "Hey,
Yeah,
look, bro, I have an iPhone," or selling it on Craigslist, and you buy it and it tells you on there, take it to this store. Well, you're taking it to the store. So what's gonna happen to that guy that actually bought the phone off the side of the road? Is he gonna get charged? Like,
yeah, yeah. Gosh, that they said yeah. That just it's so complicated. I don't know what Apple will do then. I think
because legal matters on top of legal matters there.
that's so complicated. That's down the rabbit hole.
What part's gonna end up happening is those phones are not gonna be sold as new. They're probably gonna be sold as refurbished.
Oh, you mean Apple when they get
Yeah.
it back? If,
Well,
if they ever got it back,
if
I
Apple
don't
got
think they're gonna get it back.
I doubt that
Um,
too, but you just never know.
what what could happen is a whole bunch of people just like throwing it away or give it to recycling centers or something
Oh, yeah.
because they're like, oh no, it's telling me to bring it back to the store. Can they track me to my house? This will be a story to follow up on in the next week or two to see if Apple actually like takes it further than just warning people.
Definitely. It's a
Like,
very interesting.
because this article actually strikes home to me a little bit because I know it's them stealing phones from Apple, right? And Apple doing this, but I had my cell phone stolen from me like many, many years ago. I actually dropped it. I lost it, right? But the person, I was a young teenager, and the person was able to I either didn't have a password on or whatever, and then a teenager who doesn't tell his parents to like get that phone disabled. They racked up like $1,800 in phone charges, like downloading a whole bunch of songs and making a whole bunch of calls to foreign countries. And it's like, my point is, I've been robbed before with people taking phones that don't belong to them, right? And then abusing the system.
Yep.
I can only imagine how Apple feels having hundreds of thousands of dollars stolen from these stores.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's gonna hurt them financially from here, maybe a few months forward, and who
Well, and
knows?
it's gonna be passed on to consumers in some form, you know.
I feel kind of, oh yeah, it's true, because don't the consumers actually buy from Apple directly? Oh no, Apple's direct, right? The stores.
I don't know much about Apple stores. I've really actually, I have to confess, I've never bought an Apple product
I'm
in
kind
my
of
life.
wondering. I'm kind of wondering if these stores have to buy individual stores have to buy the products from Apple in order to sell it. I'm kind of wondering
Yeah,
because I know a company that I used to work for. They had, for a company to sell, like a party within the company have to sell. They actually, for the department, has to buy the products from its own within the company in order to sell.
interesting.
And I'm not sure how this one is actually playing out. If I'm guys, if I'm wrong on this, hey, message here in the comments and let us know. We would totally appreciate to know
How does
what you
it
think,
actually work?
how actually Apple works
Who's taking the hits, and where the apple's gonna lie at the end of this.
at the end of this.
But yeah, it's like it says, the alert said, please return to Apple Walnut Street. This device has been disabled and is being tracked. Local authorities will be alerted. I know what my point was. When I lost the phone and I told like the police department, oh no, actually I called up my phone, my provider, and I said my phone's been stolen. They made all these phone calls to other countries. It's obviously not me, and they stole like $1,800 of phone, of songs I've never downloaded. Right? They said they would not track the phone to find where the person was, and actually they said they disabled the phone. They disabled it. So I don't know if like what Apple's thinking, like, because they are like, do they offer like a service, or do they go through like AT&T and
What
Verizon and everything, right?
what I do know definitely that's gonna happen is the IMEI is going to be blocked permanently across all towers, all networks, because pretty much almost all networks are merging into one tower. Remember I explained that to you in the first podcast
Yep.
about the AI and the 5G. The 5G is all companies are going through one tower now. So every single thing is going to be blocked.
And they said these phones would,
They
they know how to just make sure these phones are not gonna
Yeah,
anybody.
they won't work for any, no matter what company. You can't unlock them, you can't do nothing. They're just permanently just they're going to be as bricks. If this happens exactly to what I just said, it's going to be permanently blocked.
So that means then, because if they're not actually connected to a service, right? They haven't been connected to a service. It's like that you only could really track them if they had been connected to a service before they put this message, before they like kind of bricked them,
Correct.
before they bricked
It's
them.
possible that they could try to connect it and it might work. If it connects to a network, like any kind of network, like a Wi-Fi or something, it'll probably say that, phone has been stolen.
And they could track it that way.
Yeah, because if there's no chip in there, like how is he gonna know it's stolen?
Yeah.
Because it has to connect to the Apple store completely. Like it has to talk to its servers because it updates and does everything. So it's just gonna be a useless phone. It's like, have you ever heard about the iCloud lock?
No.
If you forget your email on this sucker, you lose your phone. Most people change phones, like if they change underwears, pretty much. Like, no offense to anybody, that they change phones like left and
Every
right.
generation.
Every generation. But the thing is, with these iPhones, this happens on iPhones, and it also happens on the Samsung devices. iPhones actually have a secure lock on it. So if you like, let's say you had an iPhone, because I don't like iPhones. If you had an iPhone, no offense, Apple iPhone, I do have an iMac and stuff like that. People they'll be hating. I do support Mac at a certain point. But the that when if you forget your password to your iCloud, your phone is dead, bro. You just no backdoor to it. If your email gets hacked, your phone is gone too. You have to make sure you actually lock down to the point that you remember that the password and you have backdoor access to these emails, because it's the same thing with what's going on right now. They're gonna lock the phone. You're not gonna be able to use it. I've had people come to me saying, "Hey, can you unlock my phone?" It's like, "Where did you get the phone?" "I bought it off somebody." "Well, bro, it's showing me it's somebody else's email, and you can't log in because it's permanently gone." So I think that's what Apple's gonna be doing, like an iCloud lock, but a IMEI block on this. Because I know that if you block a phone, it blocks IMEI on the tower. Because one time I got a customer client when I had a business. They came in and the phone was stolen. It was IMEI blocked on the tower.
You got to make sure. Yeah, I mean, I buy all my phones from Walmart. So, I actually have I'm not sure if I told you this story before. When I first, I had a phone number and I used it, and for some reason, somebody on the phone, I got it from Walmart. I was T-Mobile. They, t- my friends texted me, and then this person texted them back, and the phone like was not disconnected from that other person. So I had my phone with my card, my SIM card, and they had their phone, and it was going to the same person. And so he was, and then also on top of that, that was one weird thing. So that person was saying like really profane things to my friends, right?
Really?
Like it came, when they looked at it, it looked like it was coming from me. So that was pretty embarrassing. Try to convince a whole bunch of people that I am who I am, and I would never say those horrible things.
So what did you have to do? You changed your phone number?
I called up. Yeah, I did. You're right. At the end, I had to, but I called up Walmart, and they said that's not possible. So like, and I think I also talked about T-Mobile too, and they were like saying it's not possible. And then, so I changed my phone number, right? And then the next weird thing happened. That phone, I got a text saying, like, it sounded like a robbery was going on. It was saying like, "Hey, uh, what time?" Like, I think it was asking me either like, what are the security codes,
Mm-hmm.
or it was asking me what time, like, what time the store closed. It was very sketchy. I can't remember at the moment, but it was like a, "Hey, we're gonna do this crime text. Like, are you in?" kind of thing.
Damn.
And I was like, "Gosh, this Walmart phone. How many people have access to this phone? Like, our like how much in Walmart is like going around?
Yep.
You just, it's. I tried buying it you try buying it from a legitimate company, and then there's still all this stuff that's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Everything's going on right now, man.
Well, and this was like 2 years ago.
Oh,
So
damn.
yeah, yeah, this was 2 years ago.
I thought it
So
was something
like
recent.
during calm periods, this was happening.
Oh man.
So I can only imagine the scams that are happening now.
So what? Oh, tell me about that. According to these topics that are coming up, some of these might actually be part of this crisis. Who knows? Uh,
Yeah, let's go. I mean,
this,
let's finish up on this topic. But a lot of stores had to put in curfews and close stores. They had to shorten their hours. The protests have been widespread in many cities of the country. Um, my heart goes out to everybody who's been protesting. But then there's the people who are not protesting peacefully, that ruin it for everybody else.
Correct.
And so I'll end with saying, like, Apple CEO said, even though they're doing the whole, we want to keep our phones, we don't want to be stolen from. They said, um, send a memo to employees over the weekend saying that Floyd's death was senseless, and noted that now is not the time to stand on the sidelines.
Yep.
He continued to say, to our colleagues in the Black community, we see you. You matter. Your lives matter, and you are valued here at Apple.
Yep. I'm very glad that the CEO stated that.
Yep.
Things coming somebody from a very high perspective, a main person up above at this that should stand something for the Black community, and they should hopefully they appreciate that.
Yep. And we see you. We're talking about it. We're trying to get the issues of police brutality solved, but please don't steal our phones.
Yeah, please don't. Surprisingly that they haven't robbed or mobbed anybody on the streets because of after the looting. Surprisingly, that didn't happen. I was expecting phones and stuff like that to get stolen, wallets and stuff like that. And also the crisis thing is happening too at this point in time, the human crisis,
Yep.
know, and I was expecting more to this protest, to be happening, but it seemed that it ended up going a lot better.
Yeah.
After this looting happened.
Well, yeah, I every day I was praying for peace. Every day, like, let there be peace, because it just seems like, day after day, and who knows what the next few weeks will bring, but it's like we're still dealing with this human malware that's everywhere, and everybody's like stressed out. Like, everybody, like, so many people are unemployed and coming back to work and figuring out how to, like, navigate and pay their bills.
Yeah, like I've talked to several people and friends of mine I've stated that a lot of these people that are rioting and looting and this protest, all this is starting to occur because of we've been so confined to home for the last like almost 60 days.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of people being confined to their homes, and I understand, like, you're not being well from the head. You're losing sanity to this world due to that, and it's adding to insanity to everybody. And
well, and actually, we don't have to go too far into the legal thing, but that's actually, somebody said that, I've thought about it, and other people have thought about it on TV and stuff, that maybe these police officers might try to do, like, insanity pleas,
Yeah.
that COVID has made them crazier, that they've done stuff. But also that these looters, they might do, like, an insanity plea if they got caught.
Yeah. Yeah,
because everybody's doing like we're all insane. Like,
yeah, because we've been cooped up and we can't go anywhere. Like, I feel kind of lost in this world now a little bit. Not a lot. Yep. No, I'm pretty sure you too.
Yep. Like, everybody it's a little bit out of whack. Like, I haven't seen my friends in months because they work in healthcare, and I just don't want to take the chance of bringing it back home to somebody who's vulnerable.
Yeah.
So it's like, like, I gotta tell you, I'm not sure. Like, our Minnesota State Fair is canceled this year.
Damn.
So, like, big things are canceled, and, like, garage sales that were going to happen in May were pushed to September. Who knows if those are going to go on, because, like,
Yeah, and also probably the looted phones are going to probably be in garage sales.
Oh, yeah. It's buyers beware.
Buyers beware, like he said. Yeah. That's gonna end this topic, and we do have some not comments, but we do have some things. Like, here Josh states, those people that are ruining the peaceful protests are plants. They were hired to make the peaceful protesters look bad. The government is trying to reverse the narrative.
Yeah, I do think some people thought that some people were, being bussed in from different places. The people who were less peaceful, and, yeah, they weren't. I mean, the people who were looting, they were. I saw all different ethnicities looting.
Yeah,
it was not just one group.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true. I heard something about somebody getting arrested. I don't want to mention names here, but I don't know if you heard about it. Like YouTuber actually might be getting arrested, sent to jail for a year.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, because he was inside the looting. He wasn't at the mall looting. He wasn't looting, but his everybody around him was. But him and his friends were just there recording. So I don't know if it's true if he's going getting locked up or not. So
Yeah, gosh, I you wouldn't. I don't know.
oh,
Yeah,
Josh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I personally, I'm more of a peaceful protester. I protest by typing and by calling people. I'm not usually out in the streets.
at this human crisis right now, I wouldn't put go out there in the world like just do gathers. I would rather sit by my home and just support protesting. You know what's going on, but I don't support the looting, man. It
Well, I was also, yeah, I was also like my family. We're also praying for the people that were out there protesting.
yeah
Because we're praying that they don't catch COVID
yeah
because they're all together. Even if some of them are wearing masks, they're not all wearing masks.
yeah
And guys, masks do not make you. They're not perfect. They're not like even the really expensive masks. You want to make sure you keep that distance because even nurses and doctors who are wearing these masks, they catch the COVID.
yeah. The thing is, wearing the mask, it's not to prevent you from catching it. It's actually to prevent you from spreading it because
Well, yeah, well, like more of the cheaper ones, yeah. But like the ones that the doctors use, like
yeah
the N95s and stuff,
yes.
that's only like 95% like good.
But also, you have to take into
Pap
effect
pap suits, yeah.
you need to actually do a lot of hand sanitizing, a lot,
Yeah.
and clothes sanitization. You need to take your clothes off when you get from outside, come in, put it into your hamper. Most people don't do that.
Yeah. So we're just praying for those people because hopefully it didn't increase the spreading or anything.
Yeah, like Josh here said, it's been happening for years, and for all these types of protests.
Yeah, he's saying like people coming into protests and not people infiltrating and making the protests worse.
Yeah, it just to make it worse, and just to get people hurt, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
It's just evil.
yeah,
So
well,
let's go to the next topic. You know a lot more about this than I do. I don't. I've never bought an Apple product. Confessingly, um, there's a new iPad. Oh wait, the new iPad Air could be incredible.
yeah, I'm wondering how incredible the new device is going to be. Yeah, because it states move over iPad Pro, the new Apple iPad Air could be incredible. So let's see what this topic's all about, because like we've read this topic and it seems very interesting because they are actually gonna be out of its on the iPad Air. This is gonna be the first iPad Air with a USB-C port. Yeah, because they're finally replacing because they're using the lightning port right now at this point in time. They're moving over to USB-C port in this new iPad. Yeah, because it states right there it will be the first iPad outside of the Pro lineup to feature the USB-C connectivity. But also, it's gonna be able to. This is blew my mind just thinking about this. Like, just thinking about it, it's gonna be built um iPad design apps for designers, but the additional USB-C would offer much more versatility, allowing DSLR cameras or external storage to be connected without the need of extra dongles. The extra convenience, along with the Air's mid-range price, could be a game changer for design artists on the go. So what do you think about that so far?
Well, I'm all for advancements, and again, I confess I need to learn more about the Apple products and where they place, and what the importance are. I don't know. Anything that has more versatility, that's awesome. Less, extra things, extra dongles. It's awesome that those dongles exist though when you can't.
Oh, definitely.
But
I use dongles for the iPad 2 and the new iPad. That's what it's called, the new iPad. That's the third iPad that's ever come out in existence, and I have the second one. So I have to use dongles to hook up my camera of my camera and any accessories I need to it, but it's nothing compared to the USB-C, man. USB-C does everything.
Josh is saying, why are they calling it an Air? Is it lighter than the Mini?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I should look into that. Maybe we should talk about this in the next one. Why is the iPad Air called the Air versus the Pro? Um,
But yeah,
and
they said that the Mako Takara's report said that there's rumors that the iPad Air, could have a 11-inch display. It's a design based on the current iPad Pro. So,
pretty much just copying the Pro to the Air.
and then bringing more functionality to it.
Yeah, I do like that. That is pretty cool. I'm really kind of wondering what Josh said. Like, why is it called Air versus Pro? Does it float like Josh says? Oh man, but it is gonna be good for design artists. I'm not gonna lie on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, other people know more about it than me about what you can do with it.
But the only bad part about this is that they would love to see some pro features brought to the Air, such as the Apple Pencil 2 and the Magic Keyboard. If they by closing that gap, the Air and the Pro could hit the sweet spot between the functionality and the price. Doesn't mention any. There's no release dates at this point in time on the hasn't, and the iPad Air hasn't been refreshed since last March. So hopefully we hear. They're saying that hopefully we hear something by sometime 2020.
Sounds. So if we go on to the next article, again with the human malware, we've already said it once, but with the human malware, I didn't think it was going to be the case. Some people had said like production wasn't going to slow down, but actually, I'm wondering if this ties into the first topic we were talking about. Yeah, I don't know. It says Apple supplier Broadcom is suggesting a delayed iPhone launch this year, so pushing it weeks back than the normal showing that it would normally do with the balancing of the sheets.
I'm kind of wondering that too. I'm wondering if it is related, like you stated.
That they have to kind of figure out how great their losses are.
Mm-hmm.
Before, like, everybody's kind of like with their some companies are like skyrocketing with profits, depending on which company. Like social media is going up, right?
Yeah.
But some of these companies, though, they don't know how much supply they should put out there because the supply and the demand are erratic.
Yeah.
And so maybe some of these shortages we've seen for like power supplies and CPUs and GPUs and stuff, some of it might be related to they're only going to put so much out there because they don't know how well it's going to sell, or it could be that a lot of it just sells really well. But
yeah, like for us, me at work, I really can't say much, but our products, I can't tell what company I work for, but our company suppliers has been affected due to this crisis and human malware. Like Joe states that suppliers have been pushed back, and our projects too at work have been delayed due to the suppliers and stuff. And it's not just a little; it's massively impacted.
So a lot of the factories in China and all like the shipments,
yeah,
everything's been slowed down and shut down, or
completely. It's been shut down. We're starting to see shipments, but it's been at a very slow delay because if everything still has to
trickle up.
Yeah, because they still have to go through customs, and because they have to come back to work, they have to do this, they have to disinfect it, there's more processes than what there is, and then we start receiving parts, and then we send it out, and our process going from us to the ship to the actual locations is actually a different process, and it's a lot faster. That from once we receive it, it's a lot faster to push out, but the next process is we have to make sure we're sanitized as well.
Yep.
To be pushed out. So there's a little process on our side too. So
Yeah, that's something I'd always thought about is all the different levels of sanitation as it goes from one country to another country and then goes into different supply lines. It's like,
yeah, I can't speak for every company in the world
yeah,
out there what the process is or what they do to sanitize. I don't know if they have to sanitize products or they have to make sure that humans are the ones that actually have to be sanitized more,
yeah,
and how far people have to be 6 feet, and they're monitoring that. Like at my work, we all have to be 6 feet. If not, we get sent home for not following it, and we get pulled to the other aisles and stuff like that. So there's different things that we have to do.
yeah. It's this crisis has made things so weird. I have a job that I'm going back to where normally I'm face to face with the person. I'm doing something really close to that person, and now I'm going to be wearing a mask and being 6 feet away from that person who they're normally like in my arms and I'm doing stuff with them, right? Like I've taught swim lessons, but now I have to teach them 6 feet away. Like it's very stressful, and there's like not that many people going to be there compared to normal. Everything's like shut down, and yeah, just adjusting to the new world until we figure out a vaccine.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true, man. It's like um, I'm just wondering. I lost my thought. Sorry, guys, I lost my train of thought here for a minute. Completely lost my
Oh,
thought.
Josh is asking if you walk through a decontamination station.
Well, the way we walk in to the office, we go in and get checked temperature. We have to carry a sticker 24/7. We have to hold it for our dear lives throughout the whole day from beginning till, because I work at almost 8 or 12 hour shifts. So I have to carry that sticker with me and make sure I don't lose it all day long. Because if I lose it, I get thrown out of the building.
So that sticker says you have no fever.
I have no fever. And then because now I have to get checked again. So I have to follow protocols, and then I have to constantly sanitize my whole hands. And there's like no sanitation, like they spray you down. There's none of that. It's just like, but we do walk in. It's like just walk in, we sanitize. We have to constantly sanitize. We have to wear gloves and everything. But it sounds kind of more. It's more eased up now because of this. The crisis has everything's starting to open up more.
Yeah.
But Texas is going really through a bad crisis right now still.
Yeah, you're saying like some places the numbers are going down, some places are going up, and
Oh,
people
hell
don't
yeah.
they don't see the whole picture yet, and people aren't like totally freaking out in some places.
Oh, hell yeah. Pretty much. It's like we're pretty much
Well,
ending our topic here, but go ahead, Joe.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say hi to Mike and to Josh, and thank you. I hope that maybe that's a compliment. He said I sound like a football announcer. I'm not sure if it's the microphone or just my voice.
It could also be your suppressor.
Yeah, it could be. We improved the audio this week for anybody who listened to our previous podcasts. We're using more filters, trying to improve the quality. So
Yeah, I don't know how y'all hear me better now because
yeah,
I'm using a brand new mic that I just bought, and I'm not using no. I'm supposed to be using a cloud lifter. I'm supposed to be using audio interface. I'm just connected directly to a USB and using software to manage my filtration of the system, which I do know I need more gain on my microphone. I have to
and
manually adjust every setting, but manually.
yeah. So Renee's gone from he was using condenser mic last week. Now he's using a dynamic mic this week. And if you can tell from my background, this week I've had some problems. My computer, the power supply died, so I'm on my laptop right now. So I'm using this headphone mic. Last week I was using the condenser mic with the RTX voice, but I don't have RTX voice on my laptop. And so I bought it. I've luckily it was under warranty, so that's coming in. And I'm also upgrading my PC. So when I get my PC working, I'll go into the specs about all that stuff next week when I do, either next week or a few weeks later when we stream again. But just to tell you a little some updates of what we're doing with our channel. Just the sound's getting better. We've been doing the filters. We're playing around with mics to see if different things work better. So
Yeah,
thanks Thanks for the input, Josh. And if
Yeah.
you guys have any other comments or suggestions as to what we can do to improve the quality, let us know.
Yep. So that brings us to the next topic. Next topic is going to be very interesting, guys. I hope y'all really interested into this next topic because I'm excited for this next topic. Are you, Joe?
Oh, this topic really, it really irks me. But they have some really good advice. Are you talking about the ransomware?
Oh hell yeah, man! It's like this one's gonna be a very interesting topic. I'm like so excited for this topic. I've been
So
waiting
I'll,
to get through this.
I'll introduce it, and then you can go a little bit into it. And
Oh,
I'll go.
you can go ahead and
It,
introduce it, man.
it says this new ransomware is targeting Windows and Linux PCs with a unique attack. So they say researchers are detailing the unusual workings of Tycoon ransomware, which appears to be designed to stay under the radar as much as possible. And they are targeting education centers, and there was a different somewhere else too. But
I know they're attacking two compromised networks that have been attacked previously,
oh
but
yeah,
and
probably
it's a very in an uncommon way and a very unique style.
okay. It says education and software industries. So there, a lot of it's like ransomware, where they're getting you to download something, and now they take control of your computer, and then they encrypt your computer, so now you can't get into it because you need a password.
Yep. Yep.
And so that's I've always I really don't like viruses or ransomware. I've never been a proponent of any of that kind of stuff. Never dabbled in it ever. But the good news is they have some advice. They say that if you back up your system, right, back up all your information with backup servers, you don't have to pay the ransomware. You just get the new, get like if
Yep.
they locked out your system, either up. What does it do? Do you upgrade? Do you have to buy a new drive and just
You just wipe it out. Most of the ransomware is just software based. It just locks the operating system. So all you do is just factory reset it. Because if you had a boot sector virus, that's when you actually have to actually remove the drive if you get a boot sector virus. But boot sector viruses really don't longer exist much today society because since we're moving to SSDs, with SSDs, guys, if you don't know what SSD is, a solid state drive, and they've been out for a while, and they're exactly like little flash drives, pin drives, and everything you use, but at a bigger scale for desktops, laptops, phones, and stuff like that. So, giving you a heads up.
yeah, I was gaming on some hard drives, but I decided my new system. I even wasted money. I bought like a terabyte or 2 terabyte hard drive. I'm gonna give that to my brother, but I'm gonna go on to only SSDs.
Yeah, I just moved over to an SSD off my iMac because my iMac was running so sluggish, and I'm like dying from it.
Yeah, it takes forever to download games. It takes forever to load the games up, and we're talking about like 70 gigabyte games.
Uh, yeah, and then also too, going back to this topic, this is a common attack vector for malware campaigns, and it often exploits servers with weak and previously compromised issues,
Yep.
and also,
And weak passwords, so make better
correct.
passwords.
The attackers maintain persistence by using IFIO, which is image file execution options. If I said IFIO wrong, I'm sorry, but and settings that more often provide developers with ability to debug software. The attackers also use privilege to disable anti-malware software using process hacker in order to stop removal of their attack. What I usually recommend before you could get infected with the virus, I usually install Avast. It's free software I use, and if you buy it, you could buy it. It's affordable. I think it's like $50 or $60 or $70 a year. You buy it and you get you could actually defend yourself from like, internet security attacks. You protect yourself a lot of different ways. But a lot of people don't do is put a password on your antivirus. If you put a password on it, a lot of antiviruses, if you won't get infected with the virus because there's a password. Because
So
viruses,
where do you put that password? Like who does Avast have a password for this, or where do
yes,
you?
there's a password set. Whenever I used to run Avast, I installed Avast for a lot of my clients, and I've always given my clients the password that I set up for them privately because that prevents a virus or an infection to disable the antivirus. Because viruses have a tendency, even malware, everything, because it disables the antivirus completely through
Oh, interesting.
registry.
Interesting, because I downloaded Avast recently and I got their free their 2 months service. They're like, oh, you don't want the service? We'll offer you 2 months of this, 2 months of that, 2 months of this. So I did 2 months of everything. But you're saying there's something else that I need to go in the settings to set up
Yes.
a password?
Correct. You have to set the password up and also understand how the settings background works, because when you install Avast and you install antiviruses, most people don't know there's still more to install into setting it up. Sometimes in certain antiviruses, you have to do a little bit more to it. Avast, what I did is I exported the settings and I used those settings, and I would just launch those settings to anybody that wanted them. I would give it out for free settings for Avast, and I would give that out to anybody that wants it. But I right now at this point, I don't have the one set for this current version. I have it for the older versions. But as soon as I create a video for Avast, and I'll show y'all on how to properly secure your Avast and computer from ever getting infections. And it works. I can't say you're gonna be 100% protected, because there's some viruses that you're still gonna get some ransomware, because, or browser settings, and some other things you're gonna get infected. But your computer's gonna be more stable than what it was. And I only recommend 2 antiviruses in the world that's out there, and I've tested and used, and I've known that I've never gotten infected. Even to today, I've never gotten infected because I've used those two main ones I've ever used, or actually 3, should I say? And
So Avast is one.
Avast is on my number 1 list. If you want to look more into Avast, go look it up. It's avast.com, avast.com. If
The
you
number
want,
2 one.
yeah, and then you also got what's the other one? NOD32, and that's another good one. And then the other one is Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes, you can run Malwarebytes with your antivirus. Malwarebytes is actually a malware remover, and that I constantly, if depending on how often you surf the web, how often you do everything on the computer, it removes a lot. Your computer builds up a lot of malware and a lot of stuff on there, but I would recommend using Malwarebytes every so often, as much as possible. I'll put a description down below on Malwarebytes, NOD32, and Avast, so you could take a look into it if you decide to buy it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but they said that these attacks were different because they're unique because they target Java, which usually
Correct.
isn't a method
Yeah, it's
they're
this
using uncommon languages too.
correct. And now I'm surprised that they haven't started using Python, and Python will not be detected through any antivirus, no matter what you do. And
So
you could actually pretty much bypass anything.
I want to bring up the comical part about this because I've had, I'm not sure if you've ever had it. Maybe people have had it before, where you get the whole, oh no, you've gone to a website and now they take control of your screen and they're saying, do not turn your computer off, blah 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 blah, right? So that's like the light version. So all you do is you turn your computer off and turn it back on, and it's gone, right? You're not locked out of your browser or your computer or anything, right? So that's the light version. But I just thought it was funny about this, though. They said that uh, the extensions were like .redum and .grinch and .thanos. Okay, so they're very funny names. But also they said, okay, they demand a ransom in exchange for the decryption key, and they want to be paid in Bitcoin, of all things. All right, and they said they claim that the price goes up based on how quickly the victim gets in touch via email. I just thought that was like,
Yeah, That
You know,
you could tell right automatically. If somebody wants Bitcoin, you know that's an infection guaranteed. Nobody has that many people know about Bitcoin.
and they said that the fact that the campaign is still ongoing means that unfortunately they're finding people to get these payments from.
Yep. But it's just just take it to your tech support and they'll clean it up for you.
Yeah, and they said like, well, did you mention Tycoon?
No, I haven't.
Because they said researchers suggest that Tycoon could be potentially linked to another form of ransomware called Dharma,
Really?
also known as Crisis, due to similarities in the email addresses, names of encrypted files, and the text of the random note.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Yeah, you also got to be careful too through ransom notes and stuff like that through emails, because if they'll send you emails, and you click that link and then you automatically get infected, and it takes you straight to a website. Yes, but behind the scenes, you get infected.
And isn't that called phishing?
Yes, sometimes it's phishing, but phishing sometimes is also, you could have a website of, like, let's say, same thing like Google's, but the word at the top is incorrect.
Do you just by opening up the email, do you get infected?
Correct. You could actually get infected instantly.
So even though they have links in there, just by opening up and to see what's in the email, you get infected?
Correct. Same thing on your phone.
That's good to know, because I've opened up many an email that I probably shouldn't have opened up. Then
if you did not request something from somebody, you do not click the link.
I'm also thinking, guys, in the next month or so, of changing my my email provider, because I'm still on like ancient AOL.com. I feel like AOL gives my email address to everybody, and and I feel like they don't keep any spam out, so I end up opening up emails that I never should open.
I thought AOL was gone already.
It still exists. It's ancient. I got it from back from like the dial-up days, and I never.
Damn, I had an AOL account, but I don't know if I still have that login.
Well, I had a previous one that I made back in like middle school, but then I changed it in college. I went to a different one, but yeah.
Okay, well, this pretty much wraps up this topic. So let's see what people are saying, because the chat is blowing up right now. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it. They're having their conversation about viruses.
Will Disk Warrior fix viruses on ransomware? I've never tested Disk Warrior. I will probably make a video on Disk Warrior on that. So let me make a note on that. I'm gonna take notes.
And you can also go back to see this this chat at the end of when the video goes live.
Okay, I will do that. Again. I will look at the chat again on Disk Warrior. So I'll be making some videos on this, and I will purposely getting my computer infected just for you guys.
But Mike said there's a golden rule in IT: if it's connected, it has vulnerabilities.
Correct. I agree with him, because
is ever bulletproof.
I was one time surfing the web, and I just went to abc.com. As soon as I went to abc.com, because whenever you go to the website, your ports open up. As soon as your port opens up, somebody that's listening off of that port, like not just waiting, sending signals out, it's waiting for that port to open. As soon as that port opens up just for that website, a virus seeps in. Nobody knows that. So you just get infected just for even going to a site that you know.
But you said just by opening the email.
Correct.
How does opening just the email? How does that?
It's the website. The website you go to, and it automatically.
Oh, but you're saying if I opened up an email but I didn't click on anything.
Correct.
They can't get. You can't. Okay, so I haven't been phished that way by
not clicking. If you have the preview open, you could be infected.
Interesting.
But I would just automatically delete it. I wouldn't even bother open it. I never open emails.
Well, they're pretty good. Like some of them are really good, where they're like, like where they've infiltrated. They pretend to be your friends and different stuff. Like they have like on Facebook, they make like profiles that are identical to your friends. You know, with like, and then they say, hey, they say something that it sounds reasonable because they do a lot of research on the person that they're pretending to be.
Those people, I actually managed to ask them, where did I meet you? What time did we meet at this lunch? What time I'll ask them questions that only that person would know, and
I
they
should
can't
never have
respond.
done it. I should never have friended them. I friended them and then I defriended them. But I checked. I should have gone to their page. The person who like and then because if I'd gone there, 20 minutes earlier he was telling people that someone had hacked him and was pretending to be him. So he was sending it out to everybody. And but I said to them, "Oh, sounds interesting," because the guy was saying like there's some opportunity for me, and I'm like, "Oh, sounds interesting." And then that's all I left it at because I'm like, and then I contacted that friend to see what was going on.
Yeah, like Mike was saying here, not necessary. There's been years of Apple devices being jailbroken. Jailbroken will not work. Yeah, jailbroken would be an issue, but if the ransom targets Linux, I'm not sure if Apple is using Linux. I think they're using I think they're using Unix, or is it Linux?
This is the big blank area. Apple.
Probably doesn't target Apple because it's not relevant to what they want. Exactly, because Apple uses a different type of coding. I know that because I do a little bit programming on the Apple base, but I've never done Apple like to hardware wise use, but software application wise, yes. I'm not. That's still a gray area for me. Still a gray area.
Yeah, Josh is funny. Yeah, you always see on like the Dr. Phil show, you see all these people who are like, who are have these email conversations with, and the people are like, it's broken English, and they're romantically involved with the person that they're sending money, like the Princess of Naboo or
Yep.
the Prince of Egypt. But it's sad. It's people scamming people. It's happened. It happens all the time. So
Yeah, and like Mike was stating here too. Josh says, so why do they more likely target PCs? Well, target PCs because that's number one. Everybody has Windows PCs, isn't that right, Joe?
yeah, I've never had a Mac. So, and all my brothers always had PCs, and the only reason why my brother got a Mac was somebody gave it to him as a gift.
Yeah,
So,
I've run Windows. Everybody that I know, all my friends, clients I've ever had, all have Windows. But people that move over to Mac or because they got tired of having viruses and stuff like that.
yeah, I could see Apple having like specific applications like security or creativity, but then for like the general person, they're like, I want more performance, and I don't want to pay the premium to have the Mac for the same performance, So
Yeah,
for less performance,
correct. PCs are also a lot cheaper than Mac, so you're gonna have a lot more target into PC than anything else. Because a lot of people think that using Windows Defender is like the main antivirus. Windows Defender is not an antivirus, guys. You cannot use that. You have to download or pay for antivirus.
What is it?
What? Windows
What is
Defender?
Windows Defender? What is it classified as?
It's it's like part antivirus and part something else malware, but I forgot potentially unwanted programs. It detects that stuff, but it doesn't really do it efficient as an antivirus.
So basically, if you're silly like me, like I did in my younger years, and you disable it because you can't get into your game because it's talking about firewalls and you don't know which port to enable or disable because the game's just like saying disable all your firewalls to get into the game, you're going to be pretty vulnerable.
Correct. Like also Mike says, Linux picks up infrastructures, and a lot of servers use Linux. Well, that's a yes and no. I worked in at a education, and we every school that I've been to, they've used Windows servers. But if you're using for business purposes, like big corporates and stuff like that, you're using Linux. And using a lot of Linux backend, and a lot of Cisco equipment use Linux based operating systems, because I do programming on Cisco routers and switches, so they are using like a Linux based operating system in the back, which you can actually infect the network through that the rest of the infrastructure. So yes, you are right, Mike.
Hey, Renee, I was going to say sometime in the future, you should maybe help me do like a virtual drive, right? Like a virtual operating system, and I'll download Linux because I never messed around with Linux. My brother messes around with Linux, but
That's fine, man.
He never was patient enough to want to like teach me how to use Linux, or I never was curious actually then. But now I'm actually kind of like, I want
It's
to try it.
it's complicated for the first time.
Yeah.
I've developed apps in Ubuntu before and Linux, which Linux is part of Ubuntu. You know, everybody uses Ubuntu as Linux, and it's for the first time it's complicated, but then once you start using it, downloading stuff, you know, it's becomes a lot easier over time.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't like about Apple is I just didn't like when I saw you talking about your, why I did your share screen. I didn't like the simplicity of like they're using colors for minimize or something like that. I looked at some of like some settings that were on like like Discord or different apps,
Yeah,
and it looked unfortunately too dumbs down on Apple products. Like like half the settings weren't available in Apple. Like if you kind of like look at like maybe your microphone or some other things, there's a lot of things that they don't. The versatility of PC is you can customize a lot more than you can with a Mac. They
yep,
really do keep it simple in the Mac.
yep. It is. It's very very simple. It's not hard at all.
And so it's good that way if you just want to plug and play. But if you're like, oh, I got to tweak something, that setting might not be there.
Correct. Definitely. And then let's see. See, Apple doesn't have much problems because their OS has more layers of security. Yes, but they have also have smaller market share. So developing viruses for it is not as profitable. They want numbers. And then Josh, stop opening that one. Is enlarged. Makes sense. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
Accidentally
Josh was saying that it's in photography it's a standard to use Mac.
correct. I use Mac for my Photoshop edits. That's why I have my iMac. I use my iMac more for streaming and photo editing, and my MacBook Pro I use for a lot of editing, which I should use a little bit my desktop a little bit more. Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I use Windows versus Mac. Mac is a lot easier to use, a lot more smoother to use for photo editing because of the mouse scrolling. You have options. You can zoom in everything through here at an easy glance. A lot much easier.
So because you've used Mac and PC a lot, what does PC offer that you really like about PC?
PCs I like because you could actually change more parts. It's more interchangeable more than everything else. Compared to Mac, you can't do nothing. You're just pretty much stuck with whatever they have built in. That's it.
So you're saying that there's a little bit less variety,
Correct.
like for like extra applications, like or different things you can plug in, or
It's the same. You could have the plug in the same devices, same everything, the same. But there's a but. For somebody in the comments say something that you cannot plug in I don't know if today you could do that still, but as to what I know, you cannot plug in a Windows external drive into a Mac and a Mac drive into a Windows. A USB drive. You can't. You can't edit. You can't do none of that stuff.
yeah. So you're going into an exclusive platform, which
Correct.
makes everything more expensive.
Correct.
And if you're using that technology to make money, then it makes sense. But if you don't, then for the average person, it might not make sense, And that's probably why, again, the PCs are more vulnerable.
Correct, because like I said, you can't really make, like Josh says too. You can't make really much hardware changes on a Mac versus Windows. Windows, you could just take it out and do it again, and redo everything. You could reseed memories. You could do change graphics cards, CPUs. You could do all that stuff, and Macs you can't. And that makes Windows more susceptible to, like, because they're giving more access to more vendors, more it's almost open source Windows, and Windows have given out Windows 10 for free, so that gives hackers of free access to it, and to test more products.
Yeah, I never thought about that. It's like when they come out with the next Windows, if they didn't make that free, then it would actually make the platform stronger.
Yeah, because that's what it's
Because I
forced people to buy.
upgraded from Windows 7 to 10 because they offered it for free. And then I got the Pro edition because for some reason they were like, "Yeah, you want the Pro or the Home?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll take the Pro."
Yeah, like like I was saying, like my drive, my hard externals, they it works on both of them, both platforms, like my Windows and Mac. But I can like Josh says, both can read FAT32. They both could read it, but you can't write on it. You can't edit files. You can't add documents to it. As to what I was able to, unless I need to factory reset my Windows drive. Like I said, I haven't. This is my first time playing with wrong with Mac, so I haven't really messed with it. And I know on my Mac I can't plug it into my Windows, and it won't let me add anything to it. And I don't know if I need to change the format on it or what. Maybe I need to get some more knowledge on Mac. It says, like Mike says, to have a USB drive completely interchangeable between two computers, you have to use FAT32. Mac's got the ability of opening NTFS drives. I'm not up to date on Mac OS. All I know is I could open up files and do everything. I cannot write to that drive. I could access the files. I just cannot. I cannot like copy. I need this file. Put in here. It won't let me. Some apparent reason. I don't know if I need to change them FAT 32 or what. I'm not sure. I need to look into it more. I'm just like I said, I'm just starting this Mac world. I started this Mac world in 2018, guys. Was it 2018? No, 2019. I just started this Mac world 2019. So I've been on it for about a year and a half. So
Yeah,
don't
and
sue me out.
last week I talked about it too, about myself buying a cheap Mac. So I think this week, because last week I think I told you guys my PC, my power supply went down. I didn't have time to like think about it, but I think I'm gonna look on eBay now or somewhere and look for a used Mac and try to find out like what's a good deal for a used Mac. I want to get like just so I can play around with the operating system and get more custom with it.
Yeah, and also to then you talk about application. Let me go to application on Mac versus Windows. Mac versus Windows. Okay, man, this is a whole different story. When I use OBS to stream this stream right now, I have to have a third party application in order for this stream to work, because I could capture my audio, but I cannot capture Joe's. Joe's audio will not be captured on OBS on Mac unless I download this third party app, because there is no capture desktop audio like in Windows. You have to download this program in order for it to recognize that desktop app, desktop sounds, and actually push out the audio. That's how I had to do it. And if I forget these settings because they're already default, I'm like, once you add it, you don't have to do it over and over again, so you forget. So every time I stream, I mess up so much. So
Yeah, I find that weird that that OBS didn't have that, and or that Mac doesn't allow that. It makes it a little bit complicated when you have to find different apps to port in.
yeah, it's very interesting. So like, where is it? Josh says he's gonna test it out tonight. So let me know, Josh, if it works. And Mike says it was on hack. I was on my Hackintosh. Heard about it, but I don't know what it is. I think it's good to know both, especially if you're in the tech world. I said the same thing, because when I've been in the tech industry for about 13 years, I have a lot of experience. I started off as tech repair, down low level, and I ended up as a network admin. I was managing networks, phones, IP, VoIP, virtual networks. I set up all that up. And then I never in my whole world, I've touched Linux, I've done everything. I just never touched and Cisco routers and stuff like that. I've never ever touched a Mac computer. Ever. They're almost like 9 years into this industry. Never have I once touched a Mac. I've touched Windows 3.1. I've touched Windows 95, 98, Me, 2000, XP, Windows Millennia. I think that's what it's called. Windows Me, and then touched every single operating system, and I worked on them, but never touched a Mac. And I finally touched a Mac back in I forgot. I think it was 2013 13 or something like that. I had to replace a hard drive. Replace the hard drive. That's when it was hard drive still at the time. So I replaced the hard drive in, and I got it working, and then I worked for Apple recently, and I got more experience working for Apple, learn more in the Mac world, and now I own a Mac, and I'm doing a lot of testing on Mac. I'm always testing on Mac, always. And it sucks. It feels like if I'm just still new to it, and I'm always screwing up somehow. You can't screw up a Mac.
He said a Hackintosh is basically a project where you install Mac OS on a PC hardware. He said it's tricky.
I heard about it. I've heard about
Buy the
that.
right parts, and he said it's like 90% like the real thing.
Interesting. I guess I gotta try it out.
There's a big community that I wasn't aware of.
I didn't know about the community, but I knew about it. I've heard about it, but I just know nothing about it. I didn't know there was even hardware.
Should we go on to the last topic?
Yeah, let's jump on to the last topic.
So the last topic is phone upgrades.
That's interesting.
New technologies gonna come to the Android. We used to be on like 32 nanometer. Now phones have 7 nanometer, and could get down to 5 nanometer soon. It's going to be like, because AMD is ramping up to try to push to 5 nanometer, and so we're going to see it on phones before we see it on the computer. So they think 2021 is where we can see these new improved Androids, faster CPU, faster GPU.
I can't wait for that industry, because that's going to bring this whole GPU, CPUs to the Android, a whole new level of gaming, whole new world of gaming. More 3D graphics, going to bring out the whole world like that.
Yeah, really quickly, Josh has a question for you. He said, do you use Sound Siphon or Soundflower to play the desktop audio?
Soundflower.
Soundflower?
Yeah, I have to use Soundflower. I've tried using Sound Siphon, but I didn't know how it works. I don't even know where to get it. I tried downloading it once, and it didn't work. I couldn't get it to display anything. I don't know if I downloaded the right file. Hopefully I didn't get my Mac infected somehow. Give access to my computer to the hacker.
So the interesting thing that you thought was pretty cool is that that AMD is teaming up.
Yeah, that is a good part, because I hear everybody say, and since I know a little bit about AMD, that AMD's graphics cards, we all know that it's good, they're good, but they suck on drivers. I heard so many complaints. Joe could admit that. He's had you've had some experience?
Oh yeah, my brother, he bought the I told him, because our family's always bought NVIDIA, and we've bought a ton of AMD CPUs. Like we bought like the Bulldozer, like the 6300, the 8350 CPUs, but we never bought NVIDIA GPUs because of the temperature. Always about the temperature, the high temperatures. But the worst part is not the temperatures, but the drivers. And my brother, I convinced him over several years of beating him down, saying, give AMD a chance, even though I never bought AMD. And he finally bought a 5700 XT, and then the drivers weren't working. And he had to go back to a previous driver that was really old. And eventually it gave him so much headache that he ended up getting the 2070 Super back to stable NVIDIA drivers, because just like him, I've never had a problem with NVIDIA drivers. They've always been stable. Like you install the new driver, it plays, never had any problems at all. But when you buy a new graphics card, you want the drivers to work. And that just it ruins the experience. You buy like a $500 graphics card and it doesn't work.
Yep.
You have to go to drivers that are like 5 months old. A CPU doesn't have that problem. So I recommend AMD CPUs for anybody who wants them. But until AMD gets their act together for GPUs, at least for the gamer, I would recommend it. If you're very good at troubleshooting, then maybe you can find a driver that works. But otherwise, keep the AMD GPUs for like the servers, the farms, the phone companies, you know, with like putting them into these cell phones, right? Because these phones have to work. So, you know, the compatibility issue is going to be less compared to having a driver that works for video games.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. I'm really interested in all this news
But yeah,
stuff.
like this new technology is pretty exciting. They said it's going to be more powerful, right? Up to we can expect like 30% more power.
Correct.
Um, I personally think my phone has enough computing power that I would be in the camp that actually wants them to be more efficient. You know, I
Yep.
want the longer, like, you know, I mean, it goes along with the battery, but I want longer battery life.
The thing is, on the battery life, the more you use it for gaming and more for graphics, the more you kill your battery, faster you kill it.
Yeah, for me on my phone, I've never game on my phone for any kind of game. It would only be YouTube or browsing the web and email and stuff. So I want more. It already does all the stuff I need for like watching a video. I don't need any more compute power. I just need more efficiency, right? I'm like a diehard fan for getting CPUs and GPUs as small as possible using the least amount of wattage. It's kind of like a fetish for me.
Yep. Mm.
But yeah, they were using it's competing against ARM CPUs,
Yep.
saying that like they prioritize power over efficiency. So um, I think this is like it's AMD and Samsung coming back saying, "Hey, we got the power too.
Yep.
We got the computing power. If you need it, we'll give it to you."
Yep.
But yeah,
Definitely.
these are going to come in 2021, and yeah, it's pretty exciting because you know once it comes to the phones, it's going to come to the PC and the Mac, and that's where we're going to have the Ryzen 5000 series and the Intel 11th gen having the battle.
Yep.
Probably like 5 nanometer AMD and like 7 nanometer Intel.
I wonder how they're gonna integrate this with 5G and AI. This whole new graphics and new processor and everything.
Yeah, remains to be seen. I don't really know,
That's a
but
that's
it's yeah. I mean, anybody else want to test? It's people they're moving to 5 nanometer faster than people thought. So I'm not sure. Like once you get past 5 nanometer, you start having a lot of power leakages. So they're using like I can't remember the term right now. There's some lithography, some special lighting they have to do to make 5 nanometer work and below that. And I don't know, are we going to run into the limit where we're like, oh, we have to do 5 nanometer plus 5 nanometer plus because we can't get down to 3 nanometer. But I think there were some promising rumors that 3 nanometer is probably possible.
yeah. The smaller things they get, the more harder it is.
Yeah, all that energy is starting to leak because you're starting to get down to like they said. I think it was like the electrons, or I can't remember exactly what's leaking. You know, like
Yeah, you're at the point. You're at the point almost of atom size. At that point.
yeah.
I don't know what
So
I don't know what that size of energy is in reality, but 3 nanometers, man, that seems so tiny. So what's gonna happen when we go down to 1 nanometer?
I don't know. I thought about it like I've read articles like a year or two ago about like how you know we're already pushing the envelope with like 7 and 5, and I thought 5 was going to be a little bit longer. It was going to be taking a while, but AMD and was it Samsung? I don't exactly, or was it? It was somebody else. Um, Somebody had the 5 nanometer, which was like, you know, like because Intel's still working on their like 10 nanometer, and people are speculating as to whether Intel's going to just kind of use that or just skip that and go down to their they had some 10 nanometer, but like if they just skip it, and because AMD's going to go too far ahead of them if they do like 5 nanometer,
Yeah.
and they have to go find some 7 nanometer because they did all the stuff in house, versus AMD let someone else develop the millimeter technology and then
Mm-hmm.
just buys it or licenses it. So yeah, I don't know. I think I probably mentioned it once, but Josh and Mike, if you don't know, I'm getting a new CPU, and just excited about how efficient it is. It's going to be the 10,400, the i5, and it's 6 cores, 12 threads for a max wattage of 78, which is amazing compared to my previous computer, the FX 8350, that drew like 300 watts at full usage with a gaming, right? And it only had 8 threads. And they said it was like, oh, I didn't tell you about this, Renee. It said it had like 8 cores, right? But I recently cashed in my check because there was a lawsuit against AMD for misleading, saying that there was false advertising, saying that the 8350 was actually 8 cores, but it was more like the hyper threading. It's like 4 cores with hyper threading to 8 threads. And they won the lawsuit, and I got a $30 check, and I cashed that in.
Damn.
So like people are thinking like, oh, all these people claim in, the more people who claim in on a mass lawsuit, the less the check's going to be to everybody else.
Yep.
But I was actually surprised that I got $30 back. So it helps to put your name into those things sometimes,
Yeah, definitely.
because I'm not sure about if you knew about this, but like I had bought like the NVIDIA 970 back when people were complaining about like only having 3.5 gigahertz. Oh no, sorry, not 3.5 gigahertz. Sorry, 3.5 gigs of virtual RAM when they were advertising it as 4. And I actually got a refund from Newegg. I gave it to them, right? I sent it back to them, and they refunded me because I wasn't gonna like. It was the same thing. It was like people are advertising this 4, but it's actually worse. And actually, when it tapped into that last gig, it would actually perform worse.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, if we exhausted this topic,
Yeah, think so. And Mike asks a question. Apple uses their own custom. Oh, well, Josh, I mean, what's an iPhone? What's in the iPhone? A2 or something? I think it's A2. I'm correct on the iPhone. I'm not sure on that one. But I do know that Apple just hired somebody. They're gonna be making their own custom chips in the near future. So I don't know if that might be the reason there might be a delay on the iPhone on the next series.
did you see he said best laptop for streaming?
Where is that at?
Josh was talking about he needs to be mobile.
Oh, on the top, more further up.
Oh no, at the very bottom,
Best laptop for streaming. Okay, Q&A time. Best laptop PC for streaming. You need to have a high processor, a good intense processor, for all the tasks that you have running. Like my iMac, it's running efficient, just not enough. I had to make a lot of changes onto the custom on the sync time due to to my processor being so old. And
yeah, Josh.
Josh,
It kind of depends on like what resolution you want.
mm-hmm.
Like do you want 1080p or
You want 4K?
4K? So some of them are like, it's interesting. The price difference is not much difference because they have like really high frame rate 1080p. They're selling like laptops with 240 frames per second, or they're selling like 4K 60. So he was joking about a Chromebook. Chromebooks actually serve like really good purposes,
Yeah.
even though they're like really limited. Like I have a relative who I help them with their computer all the time. They need my help. So the Chromebook is actually good because they're less likely to download viruses or mess things up on the computer. And so it's pretty user friendly that way. It's like it's a touch screen and it's just sort of like simple. So
Yeah, like Josh asked here too, is that better than the i9? Well, AMD is a lot better than Intel's in a way. It depends on what you're trying to aim for. Like me and Joe talked about this earlier today. That the i9 you only get like what, like 12 cores or something like that. I don't even know exact number on the i9. Yeah, that's the new thing. I know that
the i9 is 10 cores.
okay, you get 10 cores on there, but on AMD, if you get the Ryzen 9, the prices are kind of expensive. You get the i9, if you get the R9, which is a Ryzen 9, you'll get either a 12 core or a 16 core. But on the 12 core, you'll get 24 threads, and then on a 16, you'll get 32 threads. And also on that, if you get, because Windows uses 1 to 8 cores on Windows itself, and in anything after 8 or 9 or something like that, it uses for you could actually assign each application its own processor. So that you could do that on Windows. You can't do that on Mac. Mac doesn't support AMD at this point in time on processors. You can't really change that.
Yeah, for streaming you have to have at least 6 cores.
I would recommend that.
I've tried it on. You can try it on 4, but it's really not. I've seen other people do, like, depending on what you're streaming. If you're streaming games, you have to have at least 6.
And which, if I'm correct, of course, for that, i5 would be perfectly enough, or i7.
Yeah, i5, like the i5, like the 10400 or the 10600K, you know, or the Ryzen 5 3600. But yeah, I would personally, I considered getting a laptop compared to the desktop because I was kind of frustrated with power supplies and having to put a computer together and everything. I was like, what if I want to just put it all together, you know? But then I was thinking, whatever I put into this laptop is going to be hindered by like the space, right?
Yep.
And like get dust in there anyway. The laptop will still get dust in there and stuff. And I don't know. I just saw some pessimistic things. Some people saying that, like, have you ever had like a kind of like a gaming laptop or anything? People are saying like you can expect like 2 to 3 to 4 years out of them, you know, depending on how well you treat it, you know.
Yeah, I've never had a gaming. My brother's had his gaming PC for like 5 years.
Yeah, but if I was getting a streaming laptop, I would go for 32 gigs of RAM. Just because depends on how many like tabs you're opening up on different browsers, you know. You want to make sure
and get the latest processor. Don't get like a Gen 5 processor or Gen 4. If you get an Intel, get something latest.
Make sure you get the 10th gen Intel or the I don't even know what is you get the 3rd gen Ryzen.
Yeah.
Don't go for the older stuff because it's weird. Like they actually sell the older stuff like at similar prices, right? Like at Micro Center, you can buy really old laptops and they're like as expensive as the new stuff, which is totally confusing to a consumer because it's the same price and the product is way slower. And so, actually, a Micro Center employee said, he actually told me, he's like, don't buy this one. This one's like 7 years old. And and I was like, oh, I was just like glancing at it and he came up and said, don't even like, because I was looking for like notebooks, like really small, you know, like for class, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, this one will run way faster.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like on a Mac, you could actually get a Mac for a streaming and you'll be fine. If you get an i5, don't get an i3. i3 suck. No offense. Get my Mac. iMac is an i5. It performs very well, but it's a late 2012 model, so it has a lot of issues and it can't do a lot of what I could do on my Windows PC. I could do all my streaming right here. I could do perfectly fine on my MacBook Pro. I could do it perfectly fine, but I can't do it on my desktop. My desktop limits me to what I could do because my desktop only has 8 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte hard drive, which I just swapped to SSD. You could actually get away with an i5. That's what I explained. But Macs are a little bit different. They play in a different ball game because Macs are a lot more user friendly, and you could load and stream and do things on the go, and everything's faster. But you could also do it on Windows PC the same.
Yeah, like Mike and Josh are having the conversation about G-Sync for laptops. They do like the new. If you want to get like, if you wanted to put G-Sync in a laptop to help with streaming to like make less like, so you get more for your bang. Like the image quality is a little bit less, but it's taxing to your system less. The new the 3000, but no, the 2000, the RTX 2060 and above,
Yeah.
that has the new encoder, the new NVENC that is very efficient.
Yeah.
But if you get, I believe if you get older than the RTX 2060, then that's not supported. It's like NVIDIA's always had like a different type of NVENC for encoding on the GPU for streaming, but they came out recently with an updated version that's way more efficient and better. So you want to get the latest. You don't need like a 2080 Ti on your laptop, but you should have like a RTX 2060 at least.
So this G-Sync is part of the NVIDIA's application.
So what?
Isn't G-Sync part of NVIDIA's software? Or is that additional?
It's hardware that's on like the monitor for your laptop, or you buy a monitor that has a G-Sync like a chip, versus FreeSync, which is an open source thing that has been out for a while, and then AMD, it wasn't supported by a lot of monitors, and then it finally got, there's FreeSync 2, which if you're going to buy like a monitor, if you're going to go into FreeSync versus G-Sync, FreeSync 2, you don't want to sacrifice and go down to FreeSync. You want to get FreeSync 2. You want to get the latest. Save yourself a headache.
Interesting. See, I didn't know about this. I'm still new to I've been out of the industry for a while, in the tech side, because I worked in my last 2 years. I've worked for a help desk and I worked for something else, but I still kept up with some of my old stuff and kept myself up to date, try to catch back up, but I'm too far behind on this latest. But because this is part of gaming and part of a different type of industry, more custom, I'm out of this this side of the industry.
That's all right. I'm kind of handling it. I'm kind of not, because but you did really good with you're really hardcore with like the spy, like the malware and the viruses.
Oh man.
But I would say that you at least need a 6-core. 8-core is a bit more of a stable experience.
Yeah.
I don't think you need more than an 8-core for streaming on a laptop.
Yeah.
I think you go beyond that and you're just going to pay a big price, and it's just gonna be thermal throttled anyway on that laptop.
Yep.
Because when you go beyond 6 to 8 cores, you go beyond that on a laptop, and it's hard enough to cool that stuff on the PC.
Yep. Yeah, like Mike even says, even I with over 10 years of PC experience, I still ask stuff over there, but I also answer questions on there. Yeah, I ask so many questions so many times. I annoy people with questions. I have to know whys.
Yeah. Tom's Hardware, you can you get some really silly answers sometimes on Quora, but you can do that. Linus Tech Tips has some pretty good forums. So yeah, just ask, and
you ask and you shall receive.
Yep, always ask the questions. There's never a dumb question.
I always say that too. Never, there isn't. There isn't. It just might sound dumb, but it's not dumb.
Well, it's like everybody's coming in the conversation at a different point. Yeah. Take care, Josh.
Yeah, this is pretty much ending the stream too.
So thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I hope to see y'all next weekend. Next weekend it's gonna be on his channel.
Yep, we switch back and forth. This week is on Blazing Tech. Next week it'll be on Tech We Love. And yeah, so we're gonna be having some mic changes, some computer components change. I'll tell you how it went with installing my PC. So
Yeah, and also too, I will post the links down below about the antiviruses and stuff like that. And if you want to see other videos that you want me to post on here or him post, you know, we'll make some videos. Just comment down below, and we'll actually post some stuff.
yep. Oh, and then also remember we're also doing a giveaway this
Oh yeah.
month, so you can enter the giveaway. We'll probably have the giveaway in the description. So it's $10 giveaway this month, and then it goes up $5 each month. In July it'll be 15. So you can enter that if you want. It's just a fun way of member appreciation.
Yeah. Also too, don't they even if they participate this month, they're still in it for the following month, right? And after that.
They have to enter every month. It's too complicated with Gleam. Gleam doesn't let you like carry over. You have to enter each month.
Oh really?
Yep.
Interesting.
All right.
That's pretty much it, guys. Peace out, and make sure to subscribe to our channel, guys. See you guys next time.
Yep. Take care. Have a good week.